Okay, we are back at the IPAN Festival, and now I have a pleasure and honor to introduce my great friend Giselle. And welcome, Giselle. Thanks for joining us. I actually pulled her out from her booth, and we'll try to do later on or tomorrow to kind of go through your product and what you do. But just if you could, don't mind, just to introduce yourself and tell us what you do. And yeah,
Thank you so much for
thank you.
inviting me to share some ideas with you, and I'm happy to be here. I recently began a company called Strength Clusters, which is it's all about developing an experience around creating a connection with the language of character strengths, and this is the product of a project that I had to develop for the certificate in positive psychology that I did with Whole Being Institute that I recently graduated from, and it's inspired by my daughter who has struggled throughout her life with learning differences.
I'm sorry because I was. This is beautiful because I know I have a lot of folks who I talked to before I left, and a lot of parents who actually asked me to uh, bring them or tell them what's going on here in education with the kids and what can we do. So I didn't know that was focused on that she inspired you. So that's great. Go ahead,
Yes,
please. Sorry.
yes. So she inspired me. We've struggled throughout our life with different labels and trying to figure out what we can do. For a long time, we addressed our situation through a traditional psychology approach, which unfortunately is based on looking at weaknesses and in very diagnostic sense. So for a long time, we had tried a lot of the interventions that weren't working for us and weren't working for our daughter. So much so that in the middle of sixth grade, she had been by the middle of sixth grade, she had already gone through private schooling, public schooling, and special schooling. In the middle of sixth grade, we were struggling, and the school told us, "Your daughter's not making progress, and we don't know how to help her." So I I didn't know what to do at that point. So I looked for the went to a psychologist to to see it, to assess what was going on, and we had so many years of experience of working with with the disabilities, and at that point I gathered the courage to ask, where are the strengths in this report? If we are in a situation where things are not working and we've already addressed so many of these um, situations through the recommendations that we have received over these last few years, and we're at this stage, we need to do something different. Where are the strengths in this report? So the psychologists that we were with at the time said, strengths, we don't look at strengths.
Huh.
So could you imagine, that was
Wow.
you know we've been doing all this work for so many years, and we were expecting that the psychologists would look at our situation with that whole being approach, right? Because you expect, when you're making a decision, you look at the pros and the cons, or when you are, like doing a marketing plan, you look at strengths and weaknesses. You cannot just look at the weaknesses and at what's wrong and develop an action plan based on what's wrong. So that was a moment for me where my mission was revealed to me at that time. Okay, so my mission was to look for strengths, and I was lucky to find the field of positive psychology. And
What were you at the time? What was your profession? What did you do?
my profession has been in graphic design and marketing.
Okay.
I have been working with clients for the past 20 years at the time, and so I'm a designer. Okay.
So now you were able to design this. So I really, and thank you so much for sharing. So from your heart, I can tell by looking at you. And I think a lot of parents and a lot of folks can really connect to this, where in the schools and so on, they'll just tell us about what kids are not good at, and they don't focus on what they're good at. And I think it's a great message for everybody out there to say, hey, I want to know what my kid is good at. So please keep it. But this is really wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, so basically, when you have somebody, when you have somebody that is struggling, it's easy to look at them through that lens of a disability or struggle or weaknesses. So I needed to change that also in myself. I needed to develop within myself an ability to see my daughter and see another through the language of strengths. So luckily we have this wonderful work by Chris Peterson and Martin Seligman with character strengths and virtues, and with the beautiful assessment through the VIA Institute on Character. So that was my first point of contact with the language of character strengths. So they have this beautiful assessment that is the backbone of the field of positive psychology. So I did it for myself, and I said, wow, this language is very powerful. I need to connect more deeply with this language. So I'm a visual learner because I'm a designer.
Right.
I'm a visual learner, and I wanted to take the visuals, the language, and figure out a visual that can represent how our character strengths are, the 24 character strengths are all part of us. And so I developed a visual map. Called Strength Clusters Visual Map, and it's based on the work. It's based on the language of character.
And I apologize just for 1 second because some people may not know. So this is based on a character strength. The website, I believe, is viacharacter.org.
That's
that
correct.
Right? And it's a free website. We're not personally associated. It was, I believe, established back then by Martin Seligman at UPenn.
Exactly.
Right? So it's a free assessment. You can go out there and basically, you'll get your top character strength. And some folks that take my program, they know about it, but if they don't, then I just wanted to make it clear.
Exactly. So it gives you the free report gives you a ranked result. So I looked at that for myself, and then I also did it for my family.
Oh, nice. You asked them to do it?
I asked them to do it, and we're more than willing to do it. And it was very exciting to see what the results look like for each of us. So the graphic that I developed as part of my work, as part of finding the answers to the questions that I posed that day at the psychologist's office, led to a visual understanding of the character strengths.
That's beautiful. And then you looked at the character strength, and then you developed, since you're a graphic designer and artist, you developed this, that we're going to look at, if not later then tomorrow, we're going to look at this really awesome tool that you made. But then you use that to develop this visual tool.
Exactly.
What is this? So tell us a little bit about it, just what it's all about, and we'll look at it tomorrow. Today.
So it started as a visual map, and then I created an experience around it. Being sensitive to the way that my daughter learns and the theory of Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences, how there are many ways, many pathways to learning. So I created an experience for groups and for educators, coaches, and therapists and psychologists to work with their groups, helping them understand the language of characters within each other. So the experience helped us embody the character strengths that we have that make us who we are, but it helps us create this culture of appreciation with one another, where we could see one another through a lens of appreciation through our character strengths. So I look forward to having the opportunity to show, to have a brief sample of, what it would look like or what it would feel like to experience the tool that I've developed.
Thank you so much. We'll try a few more folks, and we'll see if we can do. We have actually a presentation there. I think we both want to go at 4:30. There's just so much going on here.
Yes. Well,
Right?
David Cooper Ryder, he is my hero. He doesn't know this,
Oh.
but I think I'm gonna come clean. He's my hero, and he's one of my inspirations. So I am looking forward to hearing him speak.
So we'll go see David Cooperwriter, and then maybe we'll even discuss. And since you're hero, maybe we'll hear from you tomorrow what you think about today's presentation. Anything in the closing you wanted to say, a message maybe for the audience, either from the festival, what we learned so far, what we can apply in education, or anything else that you would like to share?
I think that we are in a very special moment in our history where we are all agents of change, and that we all, every single one of us, has a gift, has a light within that can, if when we discover that, or when we like really do that internal work, we, you know, we just have so much to offer, and each of us can put that little piece to make our world a better place and create a conscious, humanity, and just a culture of appreciation. So I just invite you all to, to think through, to try to see one another like I see you and I hear you. So the more we try to do that, the better relationships we have and the better world we have.
This was so wonderfully said, and it just, I mean, truly how it comes out of your heart, and I really, really love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it.
I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody.
And we're gonna come back later on or tomorrow to look at you again. Thanks again, my friend.